welcome to Sunday Brunch. It is your girl, Yolanda Neely. And everybody knows about our show coming up on August the 13th. It's going to be at Ziggy's. It's going to be awesome. Jazz on the Island with the Island 94.7, 97.5. And one of the artists performing is Melvin Smith, saxophonist, who is just awesome. Has a new project out. So we got Melvin on the line right here. How you doing?
I'm great.
I'm excited to have you perform this Sunday, August 13th.
I'm excited to come.
So tell us a little bit about Melvin. Who are you? Because, I mean, people are like, well, who is he? I'm like, I just say he is dope. He's awesome.
Well, I'm a jazz musician by trade and also a music educator, saxophonist. I've been playing a very long time, over 30 years at this point.
Wow.
And I just love sharing my gift of music, and hopefully it warms someone's heart in the process.
Absolutely. So it's saying educator, so you will teach in schools? Yes. I do workshops and I teach. And the last couple of years, I've also done choir, believe it or not. So yeah, I'm a career musician and music educator. I've done school bands. I've had adult groups, and just get them what they need in the area of performance and perfecting their performance skills. Mm-hmm. What made you go more into the field of teaching versus getting out there and performing on the road and, doing the musician grind?
Yeah, well, I did that for a little bit, but I have an interesting situation in the fact that growing up, my mom, she was a teacher, an educator.
Okay.
And I had a lot of educators in my family. So at a very young age, when I did get into music, what I wanted to do was I wanted to perform, and I toured, and then I wanted to become a teacher. That was my main goal at, say, 15, 16 years old.
Wow.
Be able to tour for a little bit and become a music educator. So that's what I wanted to do, ever since then.
And I got to say this because growing up, I grew up in New York. I think you're from New York as well, right?
Actually, I lived there for 20 years. I'm actually from Jacksonville, but
okay.
I lived in New York for 20 years.
Okay. And the reason why I bring this up, because my most influenced teachers that taught me and that really, I guess, I revered the most was my music teachers, the chorus teacher, mm-hmm. Mrs. Parker, my piano teacher, Dr. Weinstein. These were my favorite teachers because they tapped into a Yolanda that nobody else could tap into. My mm-hmm. history teacher, my math teacher, my English teacher. No, they didn't get they got me. So that's how important a music teacher really is, and the fact that you went in that direction, that is awesome.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, like, with students, some of the students that other teachers would not think would be great students and end up being great art students, mm-hmm. for whatever reason. And then, like you say, you tap a different level of potential, and it sparks a different interest. And some of my best students, when they first came on the scene, they weren't necessarily the best academically, but with that, with the relationship that we had through the art, in many cases, we were able to get them back on track with their academics through what we did, in music.
Wow. I got to tell you something, Melvin. It sounds like you're talking about my whole life right there. It's just, I feel like my whole life went back to Andrew Jackson High School in Queens.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's where I graduated from. And that was me. I was that student. I was bored. Really. That was really the truth. Everything else, I was bored. It didn't pique my interest. And one thing about me, if I'm not interested, I'm not interested. But when I walked into the chorus room, when I walked into my piano class, when I walked into things like that, I mean, I illuminated. I went to a whole nother level in my life until my grades came out. I'm gonna put this story out here, and I'm gonna tell you because I think you can have an appreciation for it. My grades was a so-so. They came to the house, my guidance counselor, and they sat down and talked to my mom. They like, she's gonna get left back if she doesn't do better. Her test scores are phenomenal, so something is going on here. So when my mother threatened to take away me not going to the chorus spring musical and all that stuff, it got real. It got real. Wow. And my chorus teacher, Mrs. Parker, ended up calling my mother, and then she pulled me aside. She said, look, I need you to get all that stuff. And within weeks, I got everything up to where it was supposed to. But the threat of taking away my music, oh my God, that did it for me. So I feel what you're saying here. I don't know how I had to digress on that. But, how many projects have you put out?
Oh, wow. I don't even know. Maybe 7 or 8 projects, something like that. Yeah.
In the midst of teaching and stuff. Wow. That's awesome. That is so awesome.
One thing that I did glean from being a musician and being a music educator is the importance of organization and planning. When I first got into music and, was in New York and playing gigs and doing little small tours, it wasn't, by a lot of performers, it was looked down on to teach students, and like I said, this was something that I wanted to do from like the age of 16 because I started playing the clarinet when I was like 12. I wanted to play the saxophone, but there were too many saxophonists. So my band director at the time, which I didn't know she was only going to be there for a year because the other teacher was on maternity leave, but she made a deal with me. If I played clarinet for a year, then I could switch to saxophone. Okay. And luckily, the other band director honored the request. So by the time I was 13, I was picking up an instrument, say June of my 13th year. By that next June of when I was 14, I was touring the Montreux Jazz Festival. Wow. So that was like picking up an instrument and learning it with my school band. So very quickly, I saw the importance of music. And like I said, I come from a family of educators. So as I kept growing, I was like, man, I love music and I would like to share this music with me because I had a lot of good influences and examples. So I started saying, okay, what do I need to do to be a successful musician? So I did that. And then what do I need to do to be a successful educator? Wow. And man, and believe it or not, both of those things helps the other. Right. So the more I practice and the better I become as a musician, it helps me to expound to students what they need and vice versa. So, now over my career, it's become more acceptable for musicians to be educators in some capacity. Absolutely. But when I first got into it, it was not the same. Oh, my
goodness. So who are some of your influencers as far as we know your parents and your family as far as educators. Now, as far as musicians, saxophone players, who are some of your biggest, I really truly admire them?
Wow. Well, I'm a longtime fan of Branford Marsalis. I respect his entire career. Going back before that, I come from the school of Lester Young, John Coltrane. Dexter Gordon was a very big influence on me. And then, like I say, contemporary players, Branford Marsalis. Tim Warfield, who's a saxophonist who's been around for a while. Joe Henderson. I mean, you can't forget Sonny Rollins, and of course
Mm-hmm.
Wayne Shorter, who we lost recently. Those, I can glean something from all of them, and the influences are actually so too many.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I have to put in there though. Grover Washington Jr.
Mm.
because he was able to bridge both the straight ahead side of jazz and the more contemporary side of jazz, because it's important. Like, not everyone can do that.
Right.
So
right.
he was a good example of being able to go to a straight ahead or a traditional jazz gig and be able to play in a manner that was respected, and then go to a stadium and play some what they call smooth jazz now,
Mm-hmm.
and be able to reach that audience also. So one of my biggest influences is Grover, because of the fact that he was very adaptable in whatever situation that he was in.
Right, because that's what drew me to you when you sent me. Because the first time I saw you, of course, you were playing with Phil Morrison, so it's going to be exciting to see you guys, come together at Ziggy's on the 13th.
Yes.
But I mean, I'm really excited about that. But the fact is, and I heard you play. I'm like, oh man, this guy is really good. And you say, hey, I got some stuff coming out. Da da da. Okay, But when you sent it to me, and I sat back and I was like, wait a minute. I was expecting a smooth jazz artist, but it was so like, I said, this is a young dude and he's playing that Phil Morrison type of stuff, it's straight away. And I called my, the young man that runs my station, Everett, and I said, Everett, I'm gonna send you this link. You gotta listen to this guy. I mean, he is like, he's like on that Phil Morrison tip. I mean, because we're looking, who would I bring here? Who would I want to perform in the area that's close to the area? The budget's low. We're not there yet. So I'm like, but I was looking in that vein more straight away before I start really getting into the smooth jazz, even though I love smooth jazz. But I still want, because we have such a diverse crowd and they have such an appreciation for that straightaway, that type of jazz. And when I heard your stuff, I was blown. I was like, wow, but he looks so young. You kind of expect it from Phil, but I was like, but he looks so young, So,
well, I cut out my gray. So,
okay, I got you. No,
now for the last couple of years, I don't wear a beard anymore. I'm not as young as I look.
Okay, I got you. I understand. Yeah. I understand, but I was just really blown away. And the music is good. In fact, tell us about your project, because I want folks to hear your new single. So tell us about your new project, because it's. I'm just gonna say, it's awesome.
Thank you so much. Well, this project is Perseverance, and it's all of my projects are special to me, but this one came at a time. It was recorded during the pandemic, and how things were during that time. We were in the pandemic about a year at that point, and I had been working on some music, and I contacted the musicians that I wanted to play, and they're all New York-based musicians. So just to get myself prepared to after I'd been in the house for a year, teaching students online, to actually go to New York.
Yeah, I know. Everybody was running from New York.
Yes, during the pandemic, and to make music, and it was just a very cathartic thing for me through the whole process. And this project is to pay homage to a few different people. First off, it's to pay homage to two of the men that were so instrumental in my life, which was my dad, Melvin Smith, and his brother, Mr. Freddie Smith. And, they poured so much into me as a child growing up. And my uncle, he lived less than a mile from me, and also another uncle, and they were always very good examples of being a man and taking care of the family and just being upright. And so this project, I lost my dad. That was one of the reasons I came back to Jacksonville when he was sick. But I lost my dad in December of 2015, and then my uncle I lost in April of that next year. So that was a very trying time for me. So this project is dedicated to them, and also to a few of my teachers who are no longer with us. One being the great Jimmy Heath, great saxophonist in jazz history, and another one who was Mr. Andy McGee, who was a great saxophonist in the Boston area, but he was also, played in big bands, and he was also a great educator, a great music educator, which was a very great example to me. Another influence was a patron that I knew by the name of Mr. Joseph Brown in New York, and he supported me in every way that he could, and he's deceased now also. Okay. Within the span of the last few years, I lost very important people in my life, and this project has just been an amalgamation of that. And lastly, one of the last influences was a classmate of mine, which was Jason Bryant Horton, and he had actually just gotten the post over at, I think it was North Carolina A&T. He was going to be the head of the jazz department there. And if you like my stuff, you can find some of his stuff still. He played with Winard Harper, and he's just a great musician, composer, arranger, educator in his own right. And he passed, I guess it's been a couple years now. And all those people, I'm being long, but all of those people helped scope this project of Perseverance.
Okay.
And so everything you hear on the project is some way inspired by those people.
Okay. Well, we definitely want folks to, take a listen to your first single out here from this new project called Perseverance. And I'm not going to play the whole thing because I want people to go and either download it or purchase it. So we'll talk more about that. Let's listen. Melvin Smith is called Perseverance. It's The Island 94.7. I can say is just wow.
Thank you.
And that, I want, because I definitely want people to, to download and, and purchase your project. Where can they get this?
They can get it on all digital platforms. They can also get it at my website, which is melvinsmithsax.com, and it should be in the store. So if you go to melvinsmithsax.com, you can get a physical copy, or you can download it there, or you can go on any of your major digital platforms, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal. You can purchase it there also.
Oh my God. I was, like I said, when you sent me the snippets before, you were releasing your project, you released it July the 14th. You see, I'm on top of what you're doing now. See, I'm serious. You just got a fan here now. I'm telling you. I'm like, I was so blown away. I mean, I was like, wow. I gotta get him here. I have to. And I'm so glad that you agreed to perform at Jazz on the Island with the Island. I mean, and it's kind of coincidentally, because again, I didn't know I was going to have a jazz station. This all came about. God works in His mysterious ways. So the fact, you know what I'm saying, and to be an outlet to introduce and to have artists like you come here and to perform. I mean, I feel very, very blessed right now. So I'm excited. So hopefully you're excited about coming and performing here on St. Simon's.
I am. I'm very excited. And to be able to share the stage with Phil Morrison and Bill Smith is going to be a pleasure, because, the thing about being in the music field and the music industry, something that you end up learning is that you not only want to be around great musicians, but great people. And these Phil and Bill are not only great musicians, but they're great people.
Absolutely.
And that helps the whole creativity, fostering creativity, because some bands, believe it or not, if you go through history in jazz bands, some of the guys, they didn't like each other.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, I was fortunate, being in New York. I met a lot of jazz musicians that everyone would know, and mentors and everything like that. And not every jazz musician is a great person.
Yeah. I'm finding out about, something, Melvin, as old as I get, I'm beginning to realize that about, it's even in the DJ world, even, even in life, you got folks who like it and folks who don't, and you just got to keep it moving. So, it's still kind of like, wow, but you're right. But at least you're around some people here. Because when I mentioned to Phil that, you'll be joining, he was like, oh, really? I mean, the excitement that's coming from him, that was like, oh, this is going to be epic. This is going to be epic.
Yeah.
So, we're spreading the word all over town. So I pray that people come out and they support and come to see you. And again, and it's to benefit our kids here. We're going, what you're doing as far as music is concerned, we're doing as far as media is concerned, as far as radio and podcasting and digital platforms, because it's important our kids learn to communicate as well as play a great song. But yet still they have to learn how to communicate, because those are the tools that are going to help all these things together. So the fact that you agreed to come and perform to help with the fundraising effort on the St. Simon's Media School for Kids, I am so blessed for that. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to come, because, we have to make sure we pour into others, especially the next generation, because we're not going to be here forever.
Right.
So
exactly.
If we hold it in and keep it with us, it's going to die. So we have to make sure we give it to the next generation and give them the love and the respect to carry it forward. we only can benefit when we give it away. You know.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. Well, Melvin, I'm not going to hold you any longer because I know you got some things to do. And I'm excited that you're going to be here again. Sundays on the Island. Well, actually, I should say Jazz on the Island. With the Island 94.7, 97.5. We're going to be at Ziggy's, and that's 206 Retreat Village on St. Simon's. People, come on out, see this man play. He's going to be right here. He's going to be live, and we are excited about that. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to hearing you perform live myself. So again, you got a fan here. You got a new fan.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to come and be a part.
Absolutely. Melvin Smith, y'all, on the Island 94.7, 97.5.